bit of a breeze down on the cliffs as well, so fingers crossed we should be okay. If it stays like this, you'll have no problem seeing the cliffs anyway, so it shouldn't be a great problem. But all this green grass around the place, dairy farming plays an awful important. One of the channels, just before it enters Limerick City, the River Shannon breaks into two channels. This is the first channel here, it's a bit small, and so we're actually coming onto what's known as King John's Island as well here. So we're actually on an island now, obviously connected with a lot of bridges today. So King John's Castle is just a little bit further up the road, and a little bit of the story of King John. It's an interesting one, so if anybody knows of Robin Hood and his merry men, Maid Marian, Friar Tuck and all those guys, that's the big bad. King John is the guy that went off to fight the Crusades, and when he was away, King John was quite devious and would try anything to become the king, anything and everything to get the English out of here. So the English had the protection of being on an island. They built the castle for them as well. Not only that, they also later on, when things settled down and they began to do some trading with the local Irish, they were able to charge a tax for people coming onto the island. So if you had dairy products, if you had milk or cheese or the likes of that, or leather, use this building here on the right hand side as a toll house. And so if you were bringing goods onto the island, you were charged a tax. So there we go guys, on the right hand side, Bunratty Castle. Very popular with a lot of American tourists as well, and like to take part in the medieval banquets there. Very famous. This area. So with the potato crop failed, an awful lot of people starved today as well. So keep an eye out for the stone walls as well. A lot of the stone walls here, because the land used to be very, very bad. Farmers, generation after generation, the family spent years toiling just to get some of the stones out of the ground. When they did manage to get quite a few of these stones out of the ground, they were left with a problem what to do with the stones. And so what they decided to do with them was to build a wall. Some of these houses have been hit by buses, and I intend not to be one this morning. So about 30.
You can live in the house.
On the right here guys, have a look out for a little monument to the famine. So you see a little child knocking at the door of the workhouse. I was a little bit too quick on past that one, sorry about that. Yeah, this area would badly been affected by the famine in 1845 because of the rules of law. Penal law was brought in by the English, which meant that an Irish person couldn't own land in their own country. So you would have had an awful lot of large English landlords owning the vast majority of land all over Ireland, and they would have rented out some pieces of land to a particular farmer, a particular family. The family would have tried to make a living off this particular amount of land. Now, in early days, you can imagine you might have 100 acres, and then after a generation, you'll have a couple of sons. And what do? You split up a little bit of your land, give it to your sons, and they'll have a couple of sons, and so on and so forth. So with the early 1840s, the land holdings of an individual farmer was actually quite small. It was something just over 10 acres. And you can imagine having 10 acres of farmland, and especially this area. Tiny little village of Liscannor. It's famous for its slate. Two things it's famous for. One is the slate that's in the local quarry here. Because the large sheets of slate, you'll actually see them in a few minutes time guys when we get up to the cliffs, because they're going to protect you from falling over the edge of the cliff. So we're going to pass the visitor centre. You'll see large slabs of slate, and all those slates were brought here from literally just this little village there in Liscannor.
Welcome to the Cliff of Moher.